Now, as we spoke about what invalidates your ghusl, there are certain actions that invalidates our prayer, right? When I'm in the prayer, when I do certain things, that totally takes me out of the prayer realm. And just 12 of them are mentioned in the last page.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're going to get started with our Sunday program in just a minute, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
What happens if Imam is leading the prayer and then
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can set it up. If you email it to me, I can just, yeah. And then, here we just.
grabbing someone right behind you. That's why Islam is beautiful religion that are, like so distinct, golden. And Imam is standing here, his nose is bleeding, or he passed, whatever. It's like he's out of, he lost his wudu. That means he's out of the prayer as well. The first thing he does is he looks at the first person right behind him, and then grabs him, and he gives signal. Then the person comes here, and then he leaves the masjid. And then when this place is empty, whoever is right behind, let's see here, comes and then completes the prayer. Because it's such an important concept when you do create rows, make sure we say like the man comes behind and says make the lines are straight and tight, and there's no gap between each individual. So, and then the other person comes, and then the other person behind comes and then completes it. And then when you come, you do not like walk. The general practice is you just drag your feet like this, whatever how many steps that we need to drag, and then you come and then complete this line, and then the other person comes there, and then the other person comes there. So that's how we deal if that happens during the prayer to Imam. But if it happens to you, again, you just say, and then you go and then do your wudu, and then come and start all over, and then complete your prayer. So this is the first one that invalidates your prayer. The second one is uncovering the aura deliberately. This is another important concept in our prayer. Aura means there are certain body parts that must be covered during the prayer and outside of the prayer as well. But that doesn't mean that you can come and pray with shorts. No. For man, you're doing that, you don't from the practice. At least from knee to navel area must be covered. This is at least. For sisters, other than face, hands, and feet, full body must be covered with hair.
This one?
So if
right here?
Okay.
So I'll start with hers. We'll see.
Then you are out of the prayer. If it happens accidentally, then it's still a fact because you are not fulfilling the conditions of the prayer. Again, before we come to the prayer and we prepare ourselves physically, washing and cleansing ourselves, making the body clean, clothing is clean, before it works, the place is clean, and then we need to make sure we put settle aura, covering certain body parts at least. But that doesn't mean again you can come just with half short or sleeve. It has to be proper because we are standing for all of kind of a but those are the minimum, or at least body parts that must be covered by men and women as well. If deliberately open, then you have to make sure that you cover yourself and then come. And then the third one is, as I mentioned, turning away from the Qibla to a large extent, like more than 50 degrees. Let's say you are praying. I mean, if you do look around, that's called makruh. Makruh is the sight. It affects your quality of your prayer. And if you, again, wander around.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're going to get started with our Sunday program, inshallah. So if everyone can come and join us, please.
Let's say if you turn like this, if someone is, if you heard the noise, you are in the prayer, and then you turn like this.
No, it shouldn't
Okay,
be
so
on. But
when
yeah.
you are out of the prayer, you have to start and revolve your prayer again. So, but let's say if you did like this, you're rocking right and left. Again,
Can
that's
you
my
close
proof.
the
It's
door
like,
maybe?
basically
Yeah,
a
maybe
little
if we
more than like
close the door,
15
that would be a
degrees.
good
Like
idea.
if you go like this, then you're out of the prayer.
Okay.
I mean,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We have a very distinguished guest speaker or guest speakers for our Sunday program. Dr. Shamim Ibrahim and Brother Omar Ricci, who will be presenting today on domestic violence awareness. Dr. Shamim Ibrahim is a psychologist, educator, and community activist. She is a pioneer in actively working for the well-being and uplift of the Muslim, South Asian, and Middle Eastern communities in Los Angeles and nationwide. She founded the Niswa Association, a family resource center, in 1990 to fill a void in services available to local immigrant and minority communities. Niswa's mission is to encourage optimal family functioning. Niswa is committed to helping underserved Muslims and other minority communities by providing culturally and linguistically competent case management, referral, crisis intervention, domestic violence shelter, and preventative health education. Although Niswa was established to help the Muslim community, aid is extended to all individuals who qualify regardless of race, religion, or ethnicity. Dr. Shamim Ibrahim immigrated to the U.S. in 1971 with her family and settled in Southern California. While applying for jobs, she volunteered at Harbor UCLA Child Psychiatry Clinic, but left for Nevada before obtaining any job funding. She accepted the position of counselor for students and assistant foreign student advisor of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. She returned to Southern California after getting a job offer as a school psychologist at LAUSD. She worked in the position for 25 years and after retirement was rehired as coordinator of the California Department of Education Healthy Start program. The general mission of the Healthy Start program was to help improve the academic achievement of California students. By collaborating with community agencies, school staff, and parents, she designed a program with a focus on the whole child, addressing mental health. Students and parents were able to avail of free counseling on campus. Physical health, gang prevention, and parent education were some components. Her concern for youth led her to found another nonprofit organization, ASRA, which helps students from elementary to college levels with tuition, scholarship book expenses, clothing, food, and other needs. Dr. Shamim Ibrahim is an optimist and an activist in the service of the community. She keeps busy reaching out and building bridges between communities for better understanding. Please help me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Shamim Ibrahim.
But by forgetting, if you do that, and when you realize it, without breaking your prayer, at the end you can do two sajda, which is called so then you are making up your mistake. And the way they calculate,
I need a mic.
let's say,
I do need a mic.
by
I
forgetfulness,
thought,
you
pardon me?
delay important
Yeah, that would be.
salah,
But
let's say,
is
have to decide right after the takbir.
yes, this will tell the story.
You finished it, but you're just standing and you're not reciting, and all of us, oh, I need to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. So due to forgetfulness, you delayed one of the most important component of prayer, which is Surah Al-Fatiha, and that's why you need to recite the Salah. At the end, which is called the last day.
When I came to this country, I didn't have a job, but I'm a social person, so I appeared in many places, and people came up and with some of the women came up and they said, "Can we talk to you privately?" So I talked to them privately, and there were domestic problems in their home. And many times, in my experience, the problems were of misunderstandings and problems were of lack of communication between the partners. So I did the best I could to help the women understand and to deal with it in a way that will bring peace in the family. Um, so that is how Niswa started. Uh, Whoever knocks on Niswa door, men, women, or for whatever reason, we will try to meet their need. We get many men who are unemployed. I should say many men. We get men who are unemployed and whose families are starving. They would also call us and we would give them a stipend. So the community, Muslim community of Los Angeles, has made it possible for us to even give financial help. And we have two therapists who work. Uh, One speaks Spanish, the other speaks Pakistani languages, and then we have others who speak other languages, and we provide them with therapy. And so, any need that arises and people approach to us, we will try to help the best way possible. We will call many other organizations and try to meet the needs of the people. So, regardless of whether it's psychological, physical, personal, uh, emotional, or whatever, we have two therapists who work for us. One speaks Punjabi, Urdu, and the other speaks Spanish. And then we have an Arabic therapist on call. So that's the history of Niswa. So now I'm supposed to speak about domestic violence. So whenever I went to a public place, people look at me and they know I'm a Pakistani or Indian or whatever. So women would approach me and say, "Can we talk to you?" And it started happening a lot. And I found that the first woman that I brought home, because she said she is very scared, she has nobody, and her husband is beating her daily and has isolated her. So I brought her home. So that started happening very frequently. People saw me and they felt that I could help. And so I'm greatly thankful to Allah for giving me this opportunity. So I did that for quite a while, for a year or 2 years. So, so my brother said to me, what is this you are doing?" So he took me to a lawyer, and then I formed the organization called NISWA, got the approval and all that. That was in 1990. And since then, we have, um, you know, sunk, no, swum, yes. So that's the history of Niswa. Now, domestic violence was one problem that came up a lot. Many problems come up for Niswa, children's problems, school problems, marital problems. Okay. So, so if you are showing that, then I'll go. Okay. So anyway, so I have this PowerPoint, and what is domestic violence? Can anybody tell me what is domestic violence, please? Yes. So what happens?
Verbally,
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, but It's not happening in the air. It's happening between.
Oh, people.
Okay. So, what's your observation about that? What did you do to help?
What did I do? Tell me when the situation comes up. I don't force anybody to do anything. I usually, okay, this is what I do. I'll ask questions. Okay, so I'll just talk to them and just listen, and then ask questions if they want to talk. Then back off a little while, and then come back again. If it was friendly, you know, if they thought it was a friend. Okay, so I wouldn't do it all in one time. Try to do everything in one time, because in that way, I thought that would probably cause a lot of extra stress. Because now they have to open themselves up. The more they talk, the more um, they're confessing to me and stuff. You know? So I don't like push that part.
Okay. So, you will act as a mediator,
Yeah, listening.
listen and give them advice, whether they take it or not, but it's your duty, you feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
won't be. I won't do it as if I'm like, you should do this. Should do this. I don't push it. I mean, I know different ways people can push.
Yeah.
But I won't do it like that.
Oh,
I say, well, there's a choice. There's another choice. Like that. Choice to do this. You can do that. You know what I mean? And I would use the word respect a lot, which they probably have a problem with. But the ideal is I'll let them know that I have a tendency to respect even my enemy. You know, that saved me a lot of trouble in my life. Just that. So you can cause. This is what I learned. You can cause a person that's already kind of angry to get more angry if you just disrespected the same person. You can be walking by them or anything. You know what I mean? Once they get angry, you disrespect them, it goes up. You know, that means anybody in the vicinity, they can cause it to go up. So I see that. If a person saying somebody was angry, or the person said,
can you all hear him?
okay, if a person is talking with me and they are confiding in me, they're telling me something, I would first respect them because some people are like, you should know this and know that. I'm not going to do that because I don't know what a person should know. And so I would just listen. I don't need their opinion. So I try to be I use a concern. I would be concerned about it. Um, and if they want to ask me a question, they ask me a question. I try my best to answer it. I don't have to be perfect. I'm thinking I don't have to be perfect. So they came to. They just came. They allow. They wanted to talk to somebody. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm also known as a person that's come up to me and start talking.
Say it again.
Okay. I can talk with people very easy.
Okay.
I know how to back off. I don't need an opinion.
Okay. So you are recommending that for a mental health
Yeah,
counselor?
try not to have any opinion if you can. It's easy for me
Okay.
because I can show interest without the opinion.
So what are you doing for a profession? Just coming to Sundays and listening to lectures, or engaged in a county mental health uh, agency?
Well, I just know these things because actually, my age, uh, situations I've been in. So instead of them telling me I experienced this and I experienced that, I'll use that information
To find a
to
solution.
find a solution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That's a, so you are an experienced person, and you probably have intervened amongst other situations like that.
A lot of trouble.
Okay. So whenever one person uses force to control or hurt another person's body, spirit, or mind, that is battering. So this is a definition of domestic, violence. It is not only wrong, but it is illegal. Domestic violence does not go away of its own. It tends to get worse and more frequent with time, unless there is, yeah. Go ahead. I can't do all this. I'm dead. So each year, Los Angeles City Attorney's Office prosecutes 23,000. This is a very minimal number. It is probably goes up to about 50,000 domestic violence related misdemeanors, including harassment, vandalism, theft, and stalking. So they do everything. So, which one? In Los Angeles County, approximately 50% of battered women return to abusive relationships due to lack of shelter and availability. Last year, there were over 70,000 domestic violence calls to law enforcement agencies in Los Angeles. But this is a minimal, number. It has increased much since I did this. The American Medical Association reports that domestic violence is the single major cause of injury to women, exceeding rapes, mugging, and even auto accidents. 95% of the victims of spousal abuse are women. We have had men also, clients at NISWA. A woman is assaulted in her home every 9 seconds. There are over 4 million reported cases of battered women each year. So what is it that the men are doing? We have to we have to look into their upbringing. Okay. 50% of all women experience domestic abuse or violence in their lifetime. I should say that I also. Yeah.
I would say the men, at least I know myself, uh, to, between me and another man would be like a fight, okay, or a potential fight. So unless I'm like really hurt, I won't call, you know,
Okay.
domestic violence.
Okay.
But if I'm stalked, I have a tendency not to do it. But if it persists, oh yeah, I do that. You know what I mean? But I just don't like. You know how you don't be present? I keep myself. You know, you got 24 hours in the day, so the person that's going to stalk you like 24/7. I don't think so. If you change your schedule, they don't know where you are, and they basically don't be around that area. Maybe it might go away, maybe not, but it gives you time to go get, go get help.
Okay.
So
You are showing techniques to avoid a bad situation.
avoid
So,
first.
yeah. Are you single or married?
Not many.
Not married, but you have a lot of theories to tell the married men how to behave, which is good.
Yeah. And I know most married men don't think of that. They will not do that. I
Okay.
know. They're like gangsters when it comes to that.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, no, no. I wouldn't say that about
They
married.
really, that's how they really talk to other men. They
Okay.
don't talk to
So let's see. Thank you. In 70% of the homes where the wife is beaten, children are also victims of abuse. The March of Dimes reports domestic violence as a leading cause of birth defects. This is very dangerous because we are affecting the child's future. Nearly half of all abusive male partners batter their female partners during the 5th month of pregnancy. They are so accurate about this, making these women 4 times likely to bear low birth weight babies. Okay. 42% of female homicide victims are killed by their male partners. A female victim is assaulted an average of 7 to 10 times before she seeks assistance. They are always very reluctant to call the police because hoping that things will be better. More than 50% of homeless women left their home to escape a battering situation. These are facts from LA County. Domestic violence is the most underreported crime in the United States. Demographic surveys indicate battering happens in families that are Caucasian, African American, Latino, Asian Pacific, Native American, or from any culture. Wealthy, middle class, working class, or poor. Elementary, high school, or college educated. It's pervasive. We are done with it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what happened? No more?
That's the last slide.
Okay. Anyway, I will ask if any of the audience wants to speak about their own experience or where they have intervened in a situation like this. Would you like to come? Okay, after her. You can come here and speak. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Anjum. When we talk about domestic violence, I think every one of us have some sort of experiences in our life. As domestic violence is a very big issue in every person's life when a person experiences it, right? If I want to personally talk about how I've been a victim of domestic violence, so I'm going to share to you my personal story, which is kind of hard to relive sometimes. I get very emotional when I talk about it, but my purpose of talking about my experience today is to educate women and men about a view of how a victim sees domestic violence, okay? What is a view of a person who's actually experiencing it? When you see a woman going through domestic violence in a marriage or in a family or anything, the very first question that comes to mind is, why is she staying in that? Why did she not leave? You know, the very first question is she crazy? Why did she stay in that marriage? That is the first thing you ask, right? It's always, why did you not take the first step to leave? I was very young. At the age of 17, I got married. And I was sent here from India to United States, married to an older gentleman. I won't call him a gentleman anymore, but anyway. It was an arranged marriage. The beginning first few months of my marriage was a very good honeymoon period of my marriage, right? The abuse started off with just verbal abuse. You know, I didn't know how to cook food. I was 17 and he was 36 years old or 40 years old, close to 40. I think, yeah, 38 years old when I got married to him, okay? Or I was in an arranged marriage. I didn't know anybody in the city. I didn't know how to drive. I was in a totally new country, didn't have any relatives. And at that point, this was the only person I knew. He was the only person, and I'm sure a lot of women who come, you know, from getting married from back home and come to the United States, they don't bring their families with them, right? If you have a family over here, you're a very lucky person. I was, not so lucky about having all my entire family. My husband was my entire family at that point. The abuse started off very early, and it came like he would talk about. He would bring Islam into saying things. He would say to me was, every place in your body that I hurt you is going to go to Jannat. That part of your body is going to go to Jannah because you've taken the beating of your husband on that part of your body, and it shifts your self-esteem into so low. I had never been beaten up by anybody. I had grew up in such a protective and conservative family. Coming to United States, married to a man who does not even know what is, the values of how to hold a woman in his life. He would beat me up for anything. Like if there was a salt, I had less salt in the food that I made, which I learned, how to make. He would throw the food at me, the hot food at me. It kept going, and to the point where one day he beated me up so badly that he had to call. He thought he killed me. He called the paramedics. By this time, I already had one son, my first son, in this marriage. And while I was pregnant, like we were talking about, I was beaten up when I was pregnant. He would he would hit me with a belt while I'm pregnant. So I would go in the position of the sajda so that it doesn't hurt the baby. And he would hit me on the back. Okay, so at one point, that beating, I, I don't know how the baby, I could not come out of it because there was no place to go at that point. I didn't know any resources. I didn't know where to go and where to hide or who to call. In the United States, I had nobody as my family member. I would call my mom up in India. I would call my sisters up and say, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing good. Everything is okay," because he's on the other line. He's listening to my conversation. He had a control freak thing. He would listen to my conversations. He would listen to everything I would do. I was not allowed to go to a store without him being present there, speak to anybody. He would introduce me to people only in his presence. I cannot make friend with any other women because all other women are bad. I cannot go to a masjid alone. All of that, slowly it became a form of life of him abusing me, beating me up, saying sorries to me in a way like he would, hold my feet and say, "Oh, toba, toba, I will never do this again. Next time you beat me up when I beat you up, okay? Next time you slap me, you push me away. Just do that. But next time I won't beat you up. I'm not in a position to hit you by the time you hit me and abuse me. I'm not getting up and slapping you." It went on. The day that he beat me up so badly, because he came home and I was watching something on the TV, and he said, "What are you watching?" And I said, "Well, this some sort of show that was going on." "So you are admiring other men on the TV?" That was the only thing he said. And the next moment I saw myself was beaten up against the wall, and I don't know what all he had done. He had literally hit my head against the wall for admiring other men on the show that I was watching, or whatever the TV show that was. And I was alone in the house with my little child. Paramedics were called. They took me to the hospital, and then the doctors looked at all of the bruises on my body, and the doctor asked me, and he's sitting right there. He says, "I cannot leave her. She doesn't need to." And then he says, in my language, in Urdu language, he says, "If you say a word, if you utter anything about my abuse to this doctor, I will send your pieces to your mother. I'll mail your pieces to your mother." And that kind of a verbal threat kind of brings you to a different level in life, right? You kind of fear. He might not do it. He might still do it because you're already going through so much, right? Then The doctor said, no, you have to step out. I need to see your wife. And once I examine her, you can come and see her. She said, she asked me, how did you get all these, what is this bruise? There is, there is a heel mark on the back of on the back shoulder. And there is a stab on the back of your shoulder. I said, well, I don't know. I think I ran into something. I think that was a door I slammed into. And she said, that's not a door. It's a whole heel. It's a shoe mark. Somebody wearing a high heel shoe is printed a shoe mark on your back. And then you have bruises in your back. You have bruises everywhere on your body. So she said, you know what? I just want you to say something to me. You're okay. You're protected. I'm just with you. And I bless, I make duas for those doctors and nurses who are empathetic to people and understand that, this is a fear factor going on or something. And they talk to you, they counsel you. And she said, you know what? Do you know any family over here? And at that time, I was in Nashville, Tennessee. So she said, you don't have anything to fear. Do you know any family member? I said, I have a brother in California. I'll give you his number. So she said, quietly give me the number and we'll make a police case. So you cannot go home with this husband of yours. She said, I said, no. I have to go back with him. No, just do something and I have to go. She said, no, I'm sorry. We're calling the police because there is a lot of bruises on your body and this is not going to happen. My brother flew in within 24 hours to Nashville, Tennessee with the police report and all of that. I was brought under domestic protection plan to LA, California. When we got here, he came right behind us. Even though I was supposed to not be in his access or be around him, there was a restraining order filed and I brought my child with me. All of that went on. But then my brother, and he had 2 little daughters, he started giving threats and everything had to be kept away. I had to go away from everybody so that he doesn't get access to me. The control of having a abuser needs a total control on its victim. He doesn't like the victim going away from him, And so, may Allah bless Shamim Appa and the Niswa organization. Somebody said, why don't you call Shamim Appa? She's a professor, she's a doctor, and she can help you and listen to you. She has a Niswa organization she runs for domestic violence women. Here I'm in California. I don't even know how to, where the streets are, where I still remember I used to draw on a paper how to get to post office, how to get to the bank, and how to get to the school, my child's school, I had to get away from everyone because he was constantly following. He had come to California from Nashville, followed me here with threats that would give you nightmares, okay? My brother had to move away because of his family, this thing. I was left alone in California again, right? So Shamim Appa, I went to Shamim Appa, and that day was the 2 days before that, no, a week before that, I think it was a week before that, my son had gotten kidnapped by him. He had come to California, planned it, and he took my son away. And that's when Shamim Appa, and I went to Shamim Appa, and I don't remember how many hours I was sitting and crying and reliving my incidences of the years of my marriage that I stayed in there. And all Shamim Appa, I remember holding her hand and, she kept consoling me, listening to me, giving me the resources of how I'm going to overcome all of this. Fight it. Be the person, not what he's made me into, but come out of that domestic violence. Come back bring my own self-esteem back in my life. To that moment of my life actually changed me completely. that listening, that counseling, that being there. I was at the Niswa house where nobody could access me. Nobody could know who I am, where I am, because nobody could, especially that man could not touch me, reach me, know me, find about me, do anything about me, you know. Then I found other, uh, with the help of Shamim Appa and the NISWA organization, I found resources on how we could find a divorce. It was an interstate divorce, a battle that was well fought. You know, it took a long time, but my son was still kidnapped. I couldn't find him. There was missing and exploited children nationwide bulletin, where you go into Walmart or you go into places, you see these missing children's. Have you ever seen those? Yeah, my son was on one of those for the longest time. Okay, I didn't leave any stone unturned to not find where he is. It was a long journey, long battle to go through that. But when an abuse happens to a woman or a man, the reason why they stay in that is because of the fear. Fear is the biggest factor of every human being. You know, when you are in fear, you do the wrong things, you make the wrong judgments, you go with what is wrong with you, you go along with it. Only because you fear, how are you going to survive? What's going to happen with my child? What's going to happen to if I don't do this? If I don't, maybe this will not happen again. But once if a woman is lucky to have someone to hold her hand and say, it's going to be okay. He's not going to come after you. It's going to be okay. This journey is going to be fine. I was lucky. Alhamdulillah. Somebody's duas were with me. Shamim Appa was there. Niswa organization was there to give me that path, give me that first step to hold my hand and say, don't fear. You can make it through. You can walk through this one. Not every woman is lucky to have that. Somebody's dua is you have to do some neki in your life to have that kind of blessing come over you, you know. And then I started a journey of educating myself, became an RN, did a lot of certifications. I work for different hospitals now. I got remarried, have 3 beautiful children. After some time, I mean, the domestic violence issue of my life has scarred me so much that I even fear when something good is happening to me. You know, it shadows you all your life. It paints a black paint on you somehow, like you're wearing a white dress and you have a black spot. It's always there. Always there. It always fears you to turn around and look if somebody's following me. If my daughters are here and I say, I don't leave them alone even a single day, because I feel like, you know what if somebody's following them? What if the fear is always there? You never ever come out of. As a victim, once a domestic violence victim remains a victim for life. I feel that. Not unless you are strong enough, you overcome it in a ways, but you literally never forget. But what we do in our lives, there are a lot of women, you know, the numbers, the statistics that Shamim Appa was showing on the thing. 23,000 women are being this thing, 70,000, and 95% of the women are abused by men. I would say, you know, probably those statistics are correct, and even higher numbers, definitely higher numbers, because most of the women's in our culture, or, you know, the culture that I grew up in, is like, shh, don't talk about it. He just slapped you, don't say anything. You know, it's a husband. It's a husband, you know, husband is allowed to do that. He can slap you, but he'll you know, you must have argued with him in a loud voice. That's why he slapped you. Things that we instilled in our own daughters to lower their self-esteem in front of a husband or a friend of, or even, a father who beats up their own children, should not be taken lightly, should not be ignored. A woman should be valued like it is said in Islam to be value a woman. You're not supposed to hit her. You're not supposed to devalue her because she's your woman. You know, domestic violence victims are very hard to find because they're always covering themselves up with some sort of fakeness. You keep a fake smile on you, because I learned that very well. I got beaten up in the morning. By afternoon, I had a smile on my face and I was okay. Oh, what's happening? Oh, no, everything is okay. We're all right. We're okay. Nothing happened to me. Although I just got beaten up. But I'm okay. Because if I leave him, I'll lose my child, I'll lose everything. I don't have any support. I don't have a home to go to. I don't have any family support. I don't know where to go to. What will happen? I'll become a homeless. Yes, I was a homeless. Yes, I had no way to go. But Allah knows that when you take care of yourself, Allah will make the path for you. When you stand for yourself, Allah will guide you. When you have to stand for what is right, have tawakkul in Allah. Know that you are worthy in His eyes. Not a man describes you to be his slave. You're not anybody's slave. As a woman, you should never be anybody's slave. You're not born to be somebody's punching bag. Women should value themselves above being a punching bag for an abuser. You cannot. And I want to talk to women. And my purpose, when Shamim Appa said, if you want to share anything, I would love to talk to those women who are out there getting abused. Please do not take it. Irregardless of any situation you are in, walk, get help. Allah will show you the ways. Yes, it will be a difficult walk. Yes, it will be nothing, but it will be better walk for yourself than to take the abuse. Trust me, when I tell you, I have done things to be here today that only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings and all of the help that I could have gotten from the supports that I've gotten. I got counseling from Shamim Appa, the NISWA organization. I got legal counseling help to match people from Nashville, Tennessee to file a divorce in California, to have the residency filed, to fight for a battle for my son. Yes, I lost my son. I don't have him with me. The long journey continued to a lot of things had happened. Years, weeks turn into months and years by the time you see yourself out of that situation. Like when you're in a war of something, you don't know when the war starts, when it's going to end, right? But what comes out of it? Are you a winner? Or you've lost the whole battle because you've given it up? You don't give up in your life. You don't want to give up on yourself. Educate yourself. Bring yourself to every resources that you can hook onto and say, you know what, I'm better than that. I need to fight it. I'm a fighter. I wasn't born to become a domestic violence case where I could have died that day. And this existence would have never happened. But Allah had a plan for me. I had tawakkul in Allah, and Allah had a plan for me, and Allah wanted to bless me with 3 beautiful children, who I'm totally blessed with. Yes, my second marriage was the second time it happened, an abuse situation. I stood up and I said, no more. Gone through that route the first time. Abuse is not something I'm going to take. Sorry. You can take the door this way. I'm okay to be a single parent, but I will not take abuse. I will not subject myself or my children, that Allah has given me the responsibility of being their parent, of their mother, to teach them to value themselves. I'm not going to let them be around an abuser. The very first time that I got abused, this in my second marriage, the exit door was right there. Because by that time, I had already financially, academically, everywhere I had educated myself. I'd come out of this. I had made sure that next time nobody comes to abuse me, uses me the wrong way. And I teach my children the same thing. Do not stand for somebody doing wrong and get away with it. If somebody, I'll ask any woman who wants to answer this, if somebody comes and just, you know, punches you, hits you, slaps you, and in the restroom over here or something, just out of their anger, they say, come and do that. What do you do? What will you do? Anyone? What will you do? Smile and say, oh, okay, you had a bad day. You just hit me up. Okay, no problem. Do you do that? What will you do? You get some help, right? You would walk out and you would not smile and say, okay, fine, you didn't bruise me. You just slapped me today. You didn't do much. It's okay. Did you have a bad day? Oh, so that's why you beat me up. You don't do that, right? You go and you find help, and you'll be angry to have that person get punished or do something, call the police and do some sort of this. But when you get home and you get beaten up by your own family member, you think 10 times whether to call the police or not, whether all that uh, fear factors run into you, and you have this chart going in your head. Check off: no groceries, no mortgage payment, no car payment, no benefits. What is going to happen with the kids? What's going to happen if okay, let's forgive him for this slap time. Let's forgive him for this abuse. Oh, he just hit me with a belt. He just didn't kill me, but he just, he went overboard this time. I was stabbed. I'm telling you, it takes a long time for a domestic victim to actually raise her own voice or his own voice. It's shameful. Sometimes it's very shameful to even raise your voice and say, because a lot of people are going to come out with questions saying, well, why did you stay there? Why did you not do something about it? So everybody needs to know that there is help out there. And NSWA organizations and organizations like that are there to help you. For every victim out there, please do not give up. Stand for yourself. Call Shamim Appa, call NSWA organization. I'm a living proof. And I would tell you the things where NSWA has stand for me are amazing. If organizations like that run in Ara, there's a purpose for it. Allah has given you that path. Allah has guided all of us to protect our own self first, right? So, inshallah ta'ala, not taking too much of, I think I've taken too much of your time. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much.
Love you.
Clap for her. Very brave woman. Very brave. Now I will ask Omar to talk about.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Omar Ricci. I'm with the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what the police do in domestic violence situations. But before I start, I want to thank you, Anjum. I want to thank you for being vulnerable, for sharing your story, which has impacted me, and I'm sure has impacted everybody here who's listening and everybody watching online. May God give you relief from your situation. Inshallah, the stain will lessen and go away. Inshallah. And I want to thank Shamim Auntie. What a hero. What a hero of our community. Let there be no mistake about it. What an inspiration. May God bless and elevate her soul from now into Firdaus, inshallah. All right. I wanted to just share with you what we as police officers do when we are summoned, when we are called for domestic violence situations. And you know, when by the time we are called, the situation is already bad. The situation is already in a very high emotion state. Violence has occurred. And so we come in at a point where somebody's dialed 911 already. So it's already a difficult situation. So it's one of the most dangerous calls that we go to because of that. The person, like your former husband, is likely already very angry, very agitated, not in control of their faculties. There's something called the amygdala in the brain, which is controls the fight or flight responses and reactions for us as human beings, and likely you're in something what's called amygdala hijack, where you're completely not in your right mind. And so we're walking into situations like that. So when we talk about what the police does, let me actually go a little bit out of order here. This is sort of a summary of what we do. So the first thing we do is to bring any violence. We get the violence to stop. Any violence that's happening in the moment, we're there to stop it and to start to bring order and protection. The second thing that we do is if there is somebody that we see is injured, we call for an ambulance to see if that person it needs to be taken to the hospital. The next thing we do, and it's part of our training, and Sister Anjum's story sort of spoke to that a little bit, what she encountered with the doctor in the hospital, is we separate the parties. We separate the man from the woman, or look in the LAPD, we deal with gay couples also that have very abusive relationships. Anyhow, we separate the parties, and we talk to each. And look, just in my experience as being a police officer, I've been to many domestic violence calls. I've arrested many domestic violence perpetrators. And the statistic of it being 95% women and 5% men mirrors what my experience has been. So in those cases, we separate out the men and the man and the woman, and we have a conversation. And in my experience, there is the victim who says, "No, everything is okay. It was just a misunderstanding," or what have you. Well, if we see evidence of violence, if we see marks or bruises on the body, we are empowered to take the next step. We're empowered to go ahead and make an arrest of the perpetrator at that time. So the point that was made by Dr. Shamim and Sister Anjum about the victim not, all these things going through their mind. What if this person gets arrested? What happens to the groceries, the bills, so on and so forth? And they talk about that to us as in the academy, that these are things that are going through the victim's mind. We also take that into consideration when we walk into a situation like that. We do take some very clear protocols, though, which is that we search for any weapons in the house. The relationship doesn't have to be a husband and wife. It could be boyfriend or girlfriend, or fiance, or some sort of dating relationship. So it doesn't matter what the relationship is. If you are cohabitants together or what have you, it doesn't have to be a husband and wife situation. Let's put it that way. The next thing we try and ascertain is who is the dominant person, who is what's called the dominant aggressor, who's the person that is responsible for the violence. And I'll talk about that more in just another slide. I'll try and get to this quickly because I know we're coming up on time. We then, do an arrest in most cases. We generate a report for it. We notify the Department of Children and Family Services if there's children involved, so they're aware of what's happening in the household. And then we offer a protective order and we have shelters that we can transport to. Now, look, I'll be honest with you. The shelters that we have for domestic violence victims are there, but they're not the solution. And I wanted to, again, sort of, really thank NISWA for being there, because that's another organization that we can turn to. Let me just go through this so I can go through the talk here, and since the prayer time seems to be coming up. When we figure out who's the dominant aggressor in a domestic violence situation, this is a flow chart that we go through. Whether one person used violence or both people use violence. Was it done in self-defense? Was it not done in self-defense? Or being perpetrated? And ultimately, we go through this sort of this basic flow chart, and the situation is, very fluid and dynamic, and not everything neatly falls into a flow chart. But we find out who the dominant aggressor is, and inshallah, we make an arrest. Okay. Let me just go back to this slide here. There are two basic laws in the state of California that cover domestic violence. One is Penal Code 243E1, and the other is 273.5 PC. The first one, 243E1, is a misdemeanor battery. So the couple have gotten into an argument, and some sort of force was used, some sort of battery occurred. And a battery is basically the unwanted touching of another person. And the example that I have down here is a man and his wife get into a heated argument over finances. At one point, the man grabs the wife by her wrists in a harsh manner. Even though the wife didn't sustain serious injury, it is still an arrestable offense. So that's because he touched her in an aggressive and an unwanted way, but it would be considered a misdemeanor. The felony one of 273.5 is when there is traumatic injury, serious bodily injury, GBI, SBI. This was when there's strangulation or suffocation. The case that Sister Anjum described of her situation would definitely be falling under that as well. So those are the two basic laws. Sometimes we get called for cases where there's a heated argument between two people, between the cohabitants or husband and wife, that doesn't necessarily have physical touch or violence involved. We still will do what's called a incident report, domestic violent incident report. So it's recorded as well, and we'll let DCFS know as well. All right. In the case where the situation is we arrest somebody, like I had a situation just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where a man came home to his house at around 4 o'clock in the morning. He was drunk. He wanted to have sex with his wife. She refused. And so he became very abusive in the sense that he, started throwing things around in the apartment in which they live, and they had like a 10-year-old daughter as well. And in that case, he threatened to kill her. He said he was going to go get his gun from his car and threatened to kill her. Instead, he went to his car and he slept in his car. Nevertheless, the wife called us. We went and we found him. We found the gun, and we arrested him. Now, in that situation, what I did is I offered the victim, in the first column that you see here, what's called an EPO, an emergency protective order. So at that point, once we established the facts of the case and we established the fear that the victim had, I will call a judge. And that's what I did in that case. I'll call a judge, and I'll describe the situation to the judge, and the judge will then usually grant it, or sometimes they don't, but the judge will, okay, you need to turn off the mic. Okay, all right. Can you guys hear me without the mic? Okay. So the judge will typically grant what's called the emergency protective order
and that's typically good for 5 court days or 7 calendar days. All right. That's just an immediate stopgap measure. All right. Does that prevent the person from getting out of jail, making bail, and coming back? No, it doesn't. Right. That's just a piece of paper. Right. And to the point that sister was making, victims. What I've seen is they are. This one ticket is to be a coma or and then later, well, let you know. Yeah. You guys? This is good. Yeah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Fine, thank you. We're going to do the iqam and I'll give you the mic, inshallah. I'll do the yeah, so I'm going to do the adhan, inshallah. So, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. استووا استقيموا واعتدلوا. Please make sure all the lines are straight. Please turn off your cell phones. يا الله. الله أكبر. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. كما صلت على السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. اللهم انت السلام. سبحان الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.